So we're getting ready to install the oil seals. On the fan side is the small one, so I've got that one first. And the you can still get these brand new from Yamaha. 93102-30128 is the fan side oil seal. And the clutch side oil seal, I guess I should show it, is 93102-30188. So like the when I showed you about the pounding in the bearing or installing the bearing on the clutch side, we had to be worried about these alignment pins. So I drilled holes in this board. So we've got the same thing on the other side, the alignment pins for when the crankcases mate together. So I need to, so I took the same board and drilled a couple holes. So now I've got a nice flat surface. So when I'm tapping that seal in, then this thing isn't rocking and I'm not pounding against these alignment pins. So I'm going to try and start the seals just by gently tapping these in place and starting them. And I'm just going to use a wooden dowel, or I could even use maybe that same bearing installer. Here we go. This is part of the crankcase puller. It's a Tusk brand tool. And actually, I think I'm going to switch over to that. That has nice coverage on this seal. And so we're just going to go ahead and tap that in place. So as best possible, a little room here, try to get that centered. And let's just do tap a little bit, see how it's going in. Looks like that side's going in a little better. I think I might switch to a dowel so I can kind of see more what's going on around each edge. Actually, I like that better. You can get a better sense of whether it's going in evenly, whether it's getting tipped. So I think I've got this seated quite well. And I think if I read in the service manual, if you're doing this on the engine, that you're supposed to apply some oil to that bearing. But I'll be able to do that at a later stage before I assemble the crankcase halves together. So let's go ahead and keep tapping that in. And I see I'm a little high over here, so let's go back to the wooden dowel. And the dead blow hammer. I actually like the dead blow hammer the best. As you can tell, this thing goes in extremely snug. So we are just about there. In fact, it's still raised all the way around, so I think I'm going to move this to the concrete floor and do a final seating of it. But you can see that we're pretty uniform all the way around on the way it's seating, so we might be in final position, but I'll tap it a little more on the concrete floor for a more solid pounding surface. Go ahead and switch over to the other half and see how we do there. Okay. So the fan side, smaller bearing. So this one's going to be maybe a little trickier to get it in there. And now on this one, this side we'll end up, I'm looking at it, it looks like we'll probably end up pounding it down, tapping it in, so this top is flush with this. As opposed to, if you remember this one will bottom out because it had that snap ring in there. So the edge of the seal should seat down against the that snap ring, and that limits its depth. But on this one, I could keep pounding it in probably too far, and so you have to be mindful of that. There's really nothing to stop the bearing from going past. I don't have a good pointing tool. There we go. There's nothing to stop the bearing or the seal from going down into the cavity of the bearing cage. So let's see if we can get that one started. Also using the dowel method and the dead blow. Well, tell you what, let's use this first. Okay, so it is started, but I am a little cockeyed. I've got this side a little high. So we'll go with the dowel so I can see what's happening. This seems to be sliding in a little easier than that big one. Not sure if you can see that, but we're near. Got a little more to go to become flush with the bearing surface or the crankcase surface. A little high over here, so let's finesse it with the dowel. And we are near flush, so now let's move over to the bigger tool. But the outer ring will keep it from going down inside the case too far. There you go. So again, I'll put it on the concrete floor for a little more solid pounding surface, but the seal is for all practical purposes installed. So a quick follow-up, put them on the concrete floor and finished driving the seals home. This one did end up driving flush with the ring of the seat seal, I guess, or crankcase. Crankcase. Now on the other one, that was the fan side, so here's the clutch side. This one did not seat perfectly flush with the crankcase, and the reason why is so when you put your oil pump on, for those of you that are still using one, basically this raised area of the seal acts as a gasket for when the oil pump gear case is put on. And so I'll just try to start it here so you can get an idea. So that's what these pins are for, is kind of an alignment, and they're pretty snug, so I won't push it all the way on, but basically it creates the seal gasket for the oil gear case and the crankcase. So not a bad job at all, or not a difficult job at all if you think it through and take your time. Don't force things, and it'll be a very easy process. In fact, I'm pleased with how easy, especially the bearings went in, and even the seals, compared to some of the jobs I've seen on the internet, YouTube, wherever I've seen them posted. So take your time, do it right, and you'll come away with a nice professional result.